It's thick. Hey guys, I know there's at least one person on here. Good morning, everyone. What's up, Cody? What's up, Ken? Teddy, Dwayne? There's not going to be a lot of me reading. What's up? I've had people ask me for sharpening videos, and I thought, you know what, since I do live feeds a lot, I just do one while I was sharpening. So this is a Curtis F3 that came in from Tony, and I am going to sharpen it because it's rather thick behind the edge. I'm going to reprofile this a bit. Just doing some sharpening. So I don't want you guys to feel like I'm ignoring you. I'm just going to kind of talk about it. So this is a Curtis F3. This is the sheep's foot version. And it's not great as far as the sharpening. Compared to the other one I did, this one is really, really dull, fairly blunt, fairly thick. I sharpened another one of these the other day for Ben. It hasn't went out yet. He paid me yesterday for the anodizing and the sharpening, and I'm gonna get his shipped out to him today. But this one came in and it's way duller. Paul, what was that question? What's up, Jep? So this one is so thick. It's so much more material on that edge. I mean, it's not even ground. It wasn't sharp, which I've done a few of these. Usually Curtis's come fairly sharp. Hello, hello, Teddy. So it's really thick, and it's ground. You guys aren't gonna be able to see it, but back here at the heel, it's ground badly, and at the tip on this side. So here and here. So it's, yeah, the F3s that any of them I've gotten in the past have come and they were really sharp. This one is not. So I'm gonna have to reprofile this a little bit, especially the tip on this side. Nice thing about sheep's foot blades is they're pretty easy to take care of. I don't have a towel, guys. You're gonna have to give me a second. I gotta grab a towel. Keep old t-shirts that aren't fit for wearing anymore, and I use them for rags out here at my sharpening bench pretty well. I think we're almost there. It usually hangs up here, and for some reason it got drug in the house. So who knows? I have got to order a couple stones sometime this week. So guys, I am about ready to start taking orders for knives. So there's already been a couple of you that spoke for specific ones. I know Ken says he wants a Hornet. There's only gonna be 12 Hornets, so I'm gonna have to be careful. I don't want to over order on this sheet, but there will be more sheets of steel coming. So right now, there's going to be 12 Hornets and 50 of my neck knives available. So I'm going to basically let you guys know. So my neck knives go anywhere between 130, Jep, so you know, my neck knives go anywhere between 130 and $170. It just depends on surface finishes. If you want something elaborate where I'm doing multiple colors of ceramic and stuff like that, then you're going to be closer to the 170. I just did one yesterday that had a rock pattern on the sides because I couldn't. Hornet, Hornet, Hornet. So here's how it's going to work. I'm going to have to start taking orders, and I'm going to have to start charging deposit now so that I can get the handle materials for the Hornets. So those of you who are on here right now, if you want to text me or email me, I prefer text. Hell, you can even call me. Just make sure that if you're calling me, that I am actually where my notebook is. So basically, I'm going to take the 50% up front for whatever model. So the Hornets are going to be at least 400. That's just the amount of work that goes into them. I have to charge that much. I wish I could do them for cheaper, but I can't. They take a couple weeks really to get them all put together and handles and everything done. So the Hornets, like I said, there's only be 12 of them. But like I say, if I'm gonna start taking orders for those, even though I don't have the blanks yet, I am going to have to take at least 50% because I'm gonna have to order handle material. So who have I got on here? What was that? Down for Hornet. 20 CV. It's always gonna be 20 CV. Unless they come up with something better, I'm gonna stick with 20 CV. The Hornet is the big combat utility that I designed. And these are going to be different. I decided I wanted to change a couple things. So when we made the design for the water jet, it's going to have a finger guard. So it's going to have an actual finger guard as opposed to it being just the choil. So that one choil will have a finger guard. Almost like a sub hilt. And then the blade shape is going to be a little bit more swept down. It's things that I had wanted to do, and I've done it on a couple, but when you're making them by hand, sometimes things they're each a little bit different. Do I have a finished neck knife? Let me finish this, I will. But you can, if you find me on Instagram, you can see pictures of ones that are finished. And then, so what I do, here's how it works, is for the neck knives too, I take half up front, and then I contact you for the other half when I'm ready to send it to Florida for the sheath. So I have a box of a couple that are going to Florida for a sheath. I have 2 more to grind today that are going to go in that box. Ben's F3 that I anodized for him, and basically it looks, the anode came out basically just like this. I'm going to get those off to Florida, so I have to grind 2 more, and as soon as I reach out to Mr. George Shaw and get the other half from the other 140 from him, because he ordered 2, I'm going to ship off that package. What was that? The bigger the knife, the smaller the animal. First the viper, now the hornet. Now I'm waiting for. On this? Or what? On mine? I'm using 1/4 inch stock. And then prior to heat treat, so then the surface grinding all gets done after heat treat. Grinding, I grind them fairly thin. I do a full flat grind on them. I get them fairly thin behind the edge. But there's a lot of stock there to support that. Plus it's 20 CV with in-house, it's about 64 Rockwell. This F3, it was really thick. The edge was really thick. I'm thinning it out. I'm thinning it out substantially. It's still going to be pretty blunt. Compared to some other knives, like the Reat that's here is a Hills. It's really thin and slicey. This is a pretty thick blade. But I don't want to thin it out too much because then I'd have to charge him. You know what I mean? I'm trying to keep it in the realm of guys. I'm gonna try and keep up with questions, but I can't promise. So Dwayne, got to get some. I'll text you on my way to work about a down payment on a Hornet. Cool. Does that F3 have detent play? Let's see, Ben. Not really. This one doesn't. Like yours did. This one has like almost 0. So Vinny Nero. Teddy asked, do you show any options on Instagram and knives done? Here's the thing. Every one of them is going to be different. So there's options, but basically Teddy, I make it to the way the customer wants. I'll grab a couple. I had a guy that ordered 2. I have to grind them today. I'll go grab a couple of them that are finished. He wanted one that looked just like the one I sent to Birdshot. What's up, Steve? Wait, who is Steve? Who is this? Wait. All right, Sly Tech. I can't remember your actual name. I'm sorry. I thought it was Steve at first. You guys have similar images that you used for your account. So basically, yes, on my Instagram, I have some of the finished ones, but I mean, that's why when you order one, you got to get in touch with me because I can do different things. Tony, this is Tony's. He sent me this and a Reat Hills model to do. I haven't seen a Reat Hills in a very long time. Really nice knives. Bird's neck knife. Well, I just did one. I'll go in. When I get ready to switch stones, I'll go in and grab the one that's done. It's in a box on the counter. The one that the finish is done on. It hasn't been... Actually, I'll grab them all. I can always rewrap them. I have time. It's only Wednesday. Tony. So Ben sent me one, and that's Big Daddy, and his is sharp, stupid sharp. This one will be too. But his is ground thinner, so much thinner. I don't know. I've never had one of the sheepfoot ones. How do you like the FDA? You sent me the other half, right, Scott? I'm pretty sure you sent me the other half before I sent it off to Florida. So it should be coming back. The package is on its way. I got notification that package shipped from Florida. I think I can always go back through and check. You just sent it. It's gonna be a couple days, at least, especially around the holidays. trying to even this edge out for you, Tony. It was ground a little off and a little thick. I think I got it though. It's apexed. Almost all the way down. What was that? So Big Daddy sent you those scales. They should be to you on Saturday. Vinny said my family bought me a large F3 for Christmas. Scott, sharp aspirin. It is sharp. I want you to be careful. So give me a second, I'm gonna switch spoons. I'm gonna grab one of those finished ones. So a couple of these are ground and a couple of them are not. We're gonna get, so this one, I finished the ceramic on last night, and it's a black and red grid pattern. There's red accents on the spine. You guys aren't gonna be able to see them very well. I'll tell you what I'll do. If you guys go to my Instagram, I'm gonna post pictures of all the ones that are finished sometime today. That makes more sense than trying to show you something that's not came out clearly, and plus I have got to get this stuff done. So we will that's what I'll do, is I'll just do it on Instagram. Hey, Mr. Anderson. Yeah, there's another suite on here. Hey, Mr. Anderson, did you find that scene in the movie where they had Speed Johansson, the gunsmith? They hung him. That's the scene from one of my favorite movies. What is my take on... Guys, don't ask a whole bunch of questions because I'm not going to answer a lot of them. Let's see here. Sweet. Spyderco UF are awesome. Just need to be careful with them. What's your take on the recent event with the unsafe SIG P320? Here's the thing. Guns are only as safe as a person operating them. I've left my gun sit on the counter for days. Nothing ever happened. It didn't jump up and shoot anybody. Mistreat a weapon, it's going to act as if you've mistreated it. This just not feel the way I want it to. It's because it's really thick. That's part of the reason. This is basically, so yeah, I was gonna talk about this knife. So the F3s are from Curtis Knives. They're really nice knives. They really are. I don't know if they're $600 worth of nice. I mean, they're really nice. I mean, I'd probably pay $600 for one. The issue I've got is sometimes they feel a little strange in hand. That choil's like a little bit big. It's too big for one finger, even my big fingers, but too small for two, and that gives you this awkward spot right here where your hand kind of, you're like, I don't know what to do with my hands, like Ricky Bobby. And so there's some weirdness the way it feels in hand. Now, the jimping's good. They're quality made knives. I do like the pivot. The pivot was unique. The stop pin, I think I told you guys that in another video. The stop pin on it was, it's got one side that's really long and one side that is shorter. And what it is on the lock side, yeah, the spot. So it has, the pin goes in, and that's what holds the pivot in place so that you don't have a free spinning pivot. And I was like, of all the thoughts that went into, you know, how you stop the pivot from getting out of position and allow you to tighten it even though it's a double-sided pivot and don't need 2 screwdrivers, I was like, that's a pretty clever, simple solution. And a lot of people go over the top and they mill a D and they have to buy specific fucking hardware. All you need for this one is you just drill one hole in the pivot side, not the screw side, and then you just make when you mill your stop pin, you just get it milled a little longer. And I was like, that's pretty freaking clever. But until I did the anode, now I've had Curtis's come in, and I've never done a spot treatment on them, on any of them, until this one came in the other day from Ben, and I had to take it apart, and goddamn knife shop, and I had to go across the street to the brewery to find a fucking 9/16 screwdriver. Which, by the way, is the flathead size you're going to want for this knife. The hardware on this one is different, though. I don't know. This one seems like it's got a titanium pivot as opposed to a steel pivot. The one that Ben sent me had a steel pivot. Not titanium. This one looks like it's been anodized. So Tony wants this one all the way to 12,000 grit, which means I have to get my special stones out and at least get them set up. Yeah, so, I mean, I don't know if it's options that are available, that some of them have tie and some of them don't, but the other one was steel. Because I checked it, and I was like, I wanted to anodize the hardware for Ben, but I couldn't do it, because it's, can't anodize steel. I can heat color it, but I don't like taking that chance. Here comes the special. This is the $35. This is putting it on this costs you $35. Not putting it on there, but it's a little aggressive. It's not horrible, but it is a little aggressive. So I'm getting texts. I'm trying to do 2 things at once. I have insurance to do this afternoon, but I have to get this stuff done as well. So I'm kind of reversing my time. Usually I do knives in the afternoon and insurance in the morning. Today is one of those days where I have to flip it because the customer wants me there in the afternoon as opposed to the morning. So and get some stuff done. They're all right. Wife is sick. My wife is sick, and I feel bad for her. She is not feeling well at all. So this happened 10 years ago when it came. The wife and I got sick. What was that? Yeah, as soon as you guys make sure that I get 40 knives a week in for sharpening, I can quit what I'm doing. But until I get to the point where I can get a sustainable income from my sharpening service, it's not going to happen. I've only got 3 knives in this week. That doesn't pay the bills. The whole point of this was to get all this so that this business was a sustainable income, and it looked like it was going to happen there for a little bit, and then everything stopped. I don't recommend stropping on a loaded strop for a straight razor. I do it right after I sharpen to give them that super fine edge, but I don't strop on I don't strop on a loaded strop after the initial sharpening. That's just the final step of getting that super fine straight razor edge. So I don't recommend just as a daily maintenance doing it on a strop, because you don't on a loaded strop, you don't need to. Now after a couple months, if it starts to feel like that the daily stropping on a barber's strop is not bringing that edge up, then you can get something that's flat like what I have, that's loaded maybe with 1/2 micron, and just touch it up on that a few times. Nice flat stable strop, like my balsa woods that I have loaded with 1 micron and 1/2 micron. Then that's when I would say, like after like 2 or 3 months, if it's feeling like it's needing a touch up, that's when I would do it. But daily use, no, not on a loaded strop. I'm working on it. I have a SKU form in with them. I'm going to text Jonas today and see if he can kind of get things going. He asked me, he's like, look, if you need me to push it, I can. And I was like, okay, let's give it a couple days. I sent off a reminder email to the lady that I was working with, and I haven't heard anything back. So today I'm going to get a hold of Jonas at Massdrop. So I may have to stop here in a little bit and go. My father-in-law wants to watch Blacklist in Japanese, and I have a region-free DVD player that we can play it on, and so I'm gonna get that set up for him as soon as he tells me he wants to watch it. Right now he's watching Japanese TV on the computer. Cat wanted out. My mother-in-law let the cat out. So father-in-law was critiquing the knives that I made. You can actually, yeah, it doesn't need it. That edge will reset itself over a while. No, no, it's a bad idea. I see that going all kinds of south. My father might be shit-faced by the end of it. He complained about one of my kitchen knives being dull. My kitchen knives don't get sharpened as often as they should. He looked at me and goes, "Aren't you a professional knife sharpener?" I've thought about it. I don't have any dealers that want to even talk to me. I mean, Will Booz and I have talked about offering my sharpening service. I talked with Brian Nadeau. He seemed interested. I think his concern is volume, but he doesn't realize, like, he's like, he does 200 knives a year. I was doing, you know, he's like, it'd be like 10 or 15 at a time. I was like, bro, I can do 10 in a day. I used to speak fluent Japanese, Ray, but I no longer do. It's a perishable skill, and I didn't use it as much because I was stateside, and I realized I was doing my wife no favors by speaking Japanese to her. And I was allowing her to not have to learn English, and I stopped. And after a couple years of just not doing it, I mean, I still can. I can communicate with my in-laws. I mean, my wife's not here right now. I mean, they're gonna have questions. I'm gonna be able to answer them. So we're at the $30 mark. That means it's on the 10,000 grit. And I'll be taking it as soon as it comes off this stone. I'll be putting it on that fancy stone over there. I gotta order stones. I have to order a couple stones here before too long, but I just spent $1,000 on fucking steel, $800 on Daughter's fucking goddamn ice skating blades. We're gonna have to get her skates, the boots replaced before too long, which is about the same price. Man, that is shiny. XHP does take a fucking beautiful edge. I don't know what the fuck they're made out of. They're expensive as fuck. I know that. I will sharpen anything for you guys, as long as you're paying me. Jesus. Everything that comes off this stone is fucking ridiculously sharp. This 12,000 grit does a different kind of edge than any really super fine stone I've had. It does a better job than my Spyderco ultra fines. It cuts really well. It cuts really quick, and you don't have to spend very much time on it, but it gives such a refined, polished edge that still is just wicked, stupid sharp. Oh, that is so sharp. Stupid sharp. Let's see where we're at before I hit the strops. Different steels look different when they come off. I'll talk to you about that. Here's the thing. You can text me when we get off of here. That's S35VN. I don't recommend taking it to 12,000. It's one of those steels that doesn't do as well at the super high grits. Where I'm taking it's about as high as I would want to take it. Not that I don't want to make more money. I just don't think you'll be as happy. I'd rather have it be the way you want it than get paid more, because so sharp. Best Riley West premium price time. So just to make sure that I've got all of the diamond strapping compound out of the little grooves, this seems to do a job of pulling it out and just finishes off that super fine polish. I'm doing it on the leather strap block. Sometimes that diamond strapping compound likes to get down in those little micro scratches and makes it look dark and cloudy. And this seems to just pull it out. I'm not actually doing much in the way of, oh yeah, super microfine scratch pattern. Not cloudy. There we go. Now. They better send me another goddamn Smoky Mountain Knife Works catalog. I'm almost out of... It didn't do that before, did it, Tony? Didn't do that? Let's do the hills. I'll tell you what, I'll look at it, Tony, and if it seems like it just depends. I've never done any S35VN that Riyadh did. So we're gonna have to see how it feels and how it looks on the stones. If it looks good on the, I'll take it to 10,000 like you said. And if it looks like it's not gonna try and get cloudy, then my 600 grit kind of loaded a little, and I need to get the abrasive back. It was almost slick. 600 grit, those Edge Pro 600 grits will do that. They will load up and get slick, and then they're not cutting. So I need to clean this up. This stone, you cannot leave metal compound on it. It said so directly. If you use any, it said not to let it dry with black on it because it's a bitch. It's a type of ceramic. I don't know what kind. It almost feels like an unfired ceramic because it's soft. So it's kind of in between. It's like in between a Chaucera stone and an actual like Spyderco ceramic. But it is super smooth. You can't even, like, you rub your hands on it, you can't feel any abrasive, really. But then when you put a knife on it, you can just feel like it's sticky. You're like, oh, that's really cutting. It's kind of, that sucks. I need to load that anyway. See if I can't get this hills done. Now this hills is not bad. This hills reminds me of a skinning knife that my dad had. That style blade. That's what I was afraid of. When I looked at it, I wasn't sure. Tony, I'm gonna probably have to reach out to you. This might cost a little bit more. I'm gonna have to reprofile it, I think. We'll see. You're gonna see me doing it. I'm gonna have to reprofile the tip on this, I think. It's got a low spot right up at the tip. It doesn't look like it's gonna be too bad. It's working its way out. Let's see what this side looks like. This side looks all right, except for the heel. So I have to do a little bit of work. The heel of this one and the tip on the other side. Just even that grind out everywhere. I have one in the house that is so bad that I'm gonna have to actually put it on the bench grinder. I'm hitting all of that all the way up. This one just has that one little spot at the tip. Not a problem. What spinning wheel are you talking about? Are you talking about during the feed? All right, Tony, you lucked out. Appears to have been problem solved. Problem solved on that one. Ah, today's trash day. Fuck. I get the trash out this evening for tomorrow. Tomorrow's trash day. We put it out the night before. So this 35 VN on this Riat seems to cut real easily. So we might not, we might only take it to 10,000 or 8,000. We don't know yet. We'll see. We'll see what it looks like at the 3,000 at the 8,000 grit mark, and then we'll make our decision whether we're going to take it all the way to 10. If I'm not taking it all the way to 10, Tony, I will make sure that you know what the actual price is. Water on that one. There's some grind issues on this, on the actual blade itself. I'll point out, let's see if you can see it. There's a skinny spot here and then it widens up, and then on the other side it's exactly the opposite. It's wide here and skinny here. So that tells me that there is a minor flaw in the actual flat grind. Not a big deal. 100% aesthetics as opposed to actually changing the edge of the knife, because the angle's still going to be the same. So somebody asked me one time how I keep my angles so precise. I don't. They're close, but I guarantee if you used a if you use like an angle block, you'd find that my angles are a little off from side to side. They can be, but I would put my angles being more precise than a lot of other freehand sharpeners. Yeah, they don't even make the hills anymore. I have news for you. 9 times out of 10, I get a knife in, it's gonna have that same issue. I'd say between about 95% of knives that come in have got some kind of minor grind issue. I'm getting ready to do one. I'm getting ready to do a video about a knife. I have a guy possibly sending me one for Anno. I've had 3 of them. It's a ZT, and every one I've ever seen, the blade is ground to where it's almost like this. My daughter asked me one time, she's like, how do you get an octopus to laugh? And I was like, I don't know. She's like, 10 tickles. I was like, that's cute. Buddy sent me one too, yeah. Buddy sent me one the other day. He goes, what has a 9 out of 10 approval rating? And I was like, I don't know. And he's like, gang rape. And I was like, oh, that's horrible. I mean, it's funny, but... That's some of those Navy guy jokes that, like you tell jokes that try to make you all go, oh, that's... Military guys do that. Like we try to tell each other jokes that make you go, ah, that's it, I'm done. I'm done. There was one I always liked. I can't remember. Oh yeah, it was like April showers bring May flowers. May flowers bring smallpox. I was like, oh, that's fucking just the perfect amount of horrible. So I was, Navy friend of mine, his name is Smitty, buddy of mine. I had met his grandmother a few times, and they're Jewish, really, 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 really sweet family. And his grandmother passed, and he invited me to the funeral, and I had met her. She was really sweet. He lived local. He got stationed out here just about the time he was retiring. And so he's like, and she had a unique sense of humor. And so we're sitting there, and he's kind of upset. He's crying a little bit. You know, his grandmother just died, and we're sitting there, and he goes, you hear some jokes my grandmother told me? I was like, fuck it, why not? Bro, whatever makes you feel better. He looked at me and he goes, you know what gives a Jew uncontrollable gas? I was like, I don't know. He goes, Auschwitz. His grandmother told him these jokes. I can't remember. There was a couple of them that he told me, and I was like, oh my God, those are horrible. And having met his grandmother, she'd have been 86, 87. that unique sense of humor she had, I completely understood why Smitty and I were friends. The second I met his grandmother, I was like, no, no, I get it. I get it. Now I get why you and I get along. He definitely inherited that unique sense of humor. Oh, there's another one. He goes, how do you get a hot Jewish chick's fucking number? I was like, I don't know. He's like, pull up her sleeve. I was like, oh. I'm gonna have to get a hold of Smitty. I haven't talked to Smitty in a while. No, we're not gonna turn this into an anti-Semitic fucking joke, fucking ramble. Just stop right now. So, I was just making a point about military guys' sense of humor. Oh man, this looks sexy even at the 600 grit. S35VN does take a beautiful edge if you don't let it get too high in the grits, depending on its heat treat. Yeah, Vinny, I tried to call you. I'm not surprised it's not covered. AppleCare used to cover everything, and I think they realized that for $100 they were giving away a lot of phones. For everything that could have fucking been. You know, they were sort of pushed back. I've had a lot of people tell me that he's like, hey, how's my favorite redneck? I'm not a redneck. Rednecks are typically your racist, completely ignorant. I don't agree with Jeff Foxworthy's definition of redneck. Most of your rednecks are your racist, fucking stupid, ignorant, fucking perfectly happy to be ignorant, not wanting to at all try to improve their station in life. That's the backcountry boys that I would consider rednecks. There's a definite difference between me, a hillbilly, and a redneck. One of the main differences between, this goes to a joke, hillbillies and rednecks. You know the difference between a hillbilly and a redneck? Hillbillies raise livestock. Rednecks get emotionally involved. Purchase jewelry, they have pet names, you know, they share a room. That's the biggest difference. Okay, on to 2000 grit. This is where we're gonna decide, Tony, whether I take this beyond 3000 grit or 8000 grit. My knives in S35BN, I usually keep them at around 3000 grit. But when I get off of this stone and take it to 3000, we're gonna see what it looks like. If it looks like it's just gonna be all cloudy, I don't know if we'll take it any higher. S35VN starts to lose a little bit, depending on the heat treat. It starts to lose a little bit when you get above about 5000 or 8000 grit. Riyadh's heat treat has been pretty good on anything I've ever seen, so but we'll see. We'll see what it feels like at 8000. If it's not good, I'll drop it back down from 8000, and I'll just let you know what you owe me. Are you still there, Tony? Tony. This feels really good, so we'll probably take it all the way up to 10,000 and just see what it looks like. A lot of times I can skip the 8,000. But with this, I want to see what it looks like at 8,000 because that will be my determining factor on whether I continue to go up in the stones. So I'm not going to skip any stones. I'm going to get the 5,000 out because usually I can go from this stone right to the 8,000, but I want to see what it feels like on those. Ooh, that is really fucking sharp. Still looks good. It's got a couple cloudy spots, especially. No. Who was that? Sean Smith. I got a spot here that I got to take care of real quick. Right back at the sharpening notch. Thought I heard my mother-in-law call me. I'm gonna try to avoid having to take the whole knife back down. Try and clean up this little spot. There's a little spot where it's a little bit misground at the spine, and it's just aesthetics. It's really well back at that sharpening notch. This is one of those ones that doesn't have a very good sharpening choil. It's not very deep. It's kind of thick back there. If I can just get that one spot cleaned up. There we go. That's what I wanted. One little spot there. So if I have a little spot, if I have a tiny little spot that I need to touch up, and I'm not going to change the entire angle of the entire knife, just that one little spot, I will switch down to these small stones to get down in that area. And just touch, and then I'll marry it in on the bigger stones once I'm able to get back down. And then that edge will just marry in just fine once I go back. But I do have to go back down 1,000 grit on this one, all the way down through. Just to marry that shoulder in on that little area that I touched up. So that's the thing about some of these, as you're sharpening, you guys, if you start sharpening, you'll find this, that you'll think you've got it done. And then when you get to some of the higher grits, like when you get above 1,000 grit, you're gonna notice spots that you're like, ha, I didn't see that. And that's because as you polish it more, that's when those little scratches become less obscured by the scratch pattern that you've put over top of it. Because when you get up to like 2,000 grit, that's a really fine scratch pattern. And then that's when you'll see some spots and you're like, huh, there's a little bit of factory edge left there. How'd I miss that? Now we got it. Now we got it. Who else still on here? What do we got here? Shit, it's been an hour. I did not intend to be on here an hour, guys. Well, I guess I did 2 knives, so. That means, yep, it's 10:30. I might have to go soon because I have 2 knives to grind, insurance 2, and then I have to be back here because I want to spend some time with my family tonight. I was at the shop until almost 8 o'clock last night, came home 8 and went right to bed because I had to get up, take my wife's car to the shop this morning and have it done so that she had it back by 9. Tony, this knife is gonna be stupid sharp any way I do it, so I'll let you know. I'm gonna hit the next step is the 5,000 grit. I'm gonna hit that one, and we'll see if that one does well. We'll keep going up to 8. If 8 does not look like it's getting too cloudy and it's not getting too fine of an edge, then we'll just keep going. That is really, really sharp, though. Well, hello, 5,000 grit. Splash and go my ass. Hang on a second, guys. I gotta fill up my water bottle. Tiger! Tiger! I think my cat is fighting with the neighbor cat. That's why you hear me yelling. Aren't you serious, Dan? Many more stones, they're splash and go. My ass, you gotta soak these motherfuckers sometimes. You have to. They dry up and slick up, and the next thing you know, you're not doing anything. Ooh, Tony, it looks good at 5,000. See what it feels like. I don't know, Tony. It feels like it's almost getting to, well, let's hit the 8,000 real quick and see. Sometimes that 5,000 gives you a we're on to 8,000 now. Let's see. I'll take it up to 10. We'll see what it feels like. As long as it's not. Let's see. This is at 10. So XHP, I'm gonna tell you right now, even though I took that knife of your F3 all the way to 12,000 grit, it's gonna have some scratch. But XHP does not like to give up a scratch pattern, no matter what you do. It's not that it doesn't give it up. You can just see it more readily, no matter how high you polish it. There's gonna be some scratches in that. Let's see. Well, that's pretty fucking mirror polish, but is it? No. No, it's good at 10. This is pretty good at 10. I don't take my Sebenza to 10 ever. Oh yeah, it's still. I haven't knocked the burr off of it yet. Knocked the burr off of it. Ooh, yeah. That's really sharp. She's purty. Sure is purty. This one was pretty sharp to begin with, Tony. I mean, it wasn't sharp, but I mean, it wasn't horrible. I've definitely had factory knives come that were much duller. She's pretty sharp. Oh, it's wet. Alright guys, that's it. This one's done, the other one's done. Tony, I will text you momentarily. Because I'm gonna need your address again. I can't find the, I thought I kept the box that you sent me the knife in. Later guys.